What is up, boys and girls? In this guide video, I'll be going over some of the best methods and strategies against each of the bosses in the RE4 remake, as well as some of the sub-bosses. While these fights were performed on professional difficulty, the strategies used can be applied to the lower difficulties as well. Granted, the fights on those difficulties will go much quicker. Also, do keep in mind that whichever weapons you decide to use, how tuned they are, and also what your ammo situation is, will of course affect exactly how the fights will play out for you. With that out of the way, let's start with the first boss you will come across in the game while in Chapter 3, the Lago. Luckily, for this fight, you don't have to worry about what gun to use or how much ammo you have. All you have to do is damage him with your unlimited harpoons while preventing the boat from taking too much damage. When it comes to aiming the harpoons, be patient and wait till you see the marker appear on the Lago before throwing it. The harpoons do travel in an arc and have some travel time, so make sure you account for that. As far as avoiding the objects in the water, try to scout ahead and plan your route. You can also use the rope as a guide to determine what the best path is to take, but this can be tricky at times to see. Anytime you see him jump out of the water to crash into the boat, just dodge either to the left or right and feed him a harpoon directly in his mouth for maximum damage. Now, when it comes to the instances when he's only surfacing in and out of the water for a very short time, just be patient and anticipate when he will pop up to lay in some damage with your harpoons. Do not bother throwing them when he is just below the surface, since the harpoon will simply hit the water and you'll more than likely miss out on key opportunities to damage him.
Think you can swallow me whole, huh?
Whenever he attempts to charge and swallow the boat, just hit him directly in his mouth at least once to prevent him from damaging the boat. You can usually at least get one more free hit on his head before he dives underwater. It is possible to actually kill him before he dives under. In order to do this, once the fight starts, you must land every harpoon shot as quickly as possible while also hitting him every time he opens his mouth. While this can be tough, he does move in the exact same pattern at the start of the fight, so memorization is huge. That being said, if you're quite new to this fight, then your priority should be avoiding all obstacles rather than landing harpoon shots in quick succession. For these scripted leaps out of the water, you can get a harpoon throw off to damage him, but you must preemptively throw it to right where he's gonna pop out just before it triggers. If for whatever reason you see that you're not gonna be able to fully dodge an object in time in the water, at least just try to make minor contact with it rather than taking a full out hit. By doing this, the boat at least won't take substantial damage and will survive far more hits. How he will behave in the water and his attack patterns is primarily based on how much health he has. When he is getting low on health, you will see him move more erratically and go in and out of the water much more quickly and attempt to crash the boat far more often. In general, sound cues are very important, and in this fight they will help tremendously with locating exactly where the Lago is when he dives underwater. So it's best to have your audio levels cranked up a bit or a pair of headphones on.
Where'd you go?
Overall, this fight is pretty straightforward, but the Lago can drag time out and become very tedious to kill if you're missing a lot of your harpoon throws. So like I said before, just take your time lining up your throws and avoid taking boat damage at all costs. Next up is the fight versus the Gigante in Chapter 4. One thing to note is that if you save the dog from the bear trap at the beginning of Chapter 3, he will then later come to aid you in this fight. However, if you choose not to save him, then this fight will be a little tougher since you won't have backup. As far as what weapons and equipment you should use to end this fight quickly, I find the most valuable picks are the sniper rifle and flash grenades. In this footage, however, I do use a mix of everything just to showcase all your main options. Once this fight starts, get in as much damage as you can on his head while maintaining space, something I didn't exactly do correctly this time around. If you are keeping proper space, then you only have to worry about his shoulder charge and jumping stomp attacks, since both of those attacks close out space very quickly.
Shit, that was close.
Anytime you do feel you may get hit or corner yourself, try to just instead make your way into one of the small houses to avoid getting hit and to gather some equipment. Whenever the Gigante goes to pick up the house, you can avoid getting it thrown at you and soak in some damage by standing right in front of him. Just try not to stand there for too long after he throws the house. You can also easily stop him from throwing the house if you hit him with a well-placed grenade. As soon as you damage him enough to expose the parasite, take aim on it, preferably with either your sniper rifle or a flash grenade. Once you stagger him, now is the time to apply some heavy damage to the parasite. The shotgun or the knife can be solid options here, but the bolt-action sniper rifle truly excels at this. You will have a limited amount of time to apply damage, so make sure you make the most of it. Whenever you've dropped his health enough, the dog will show up to help you out. Let the dog take the aggro from the El Gigante while you stay a safe distance back and apply some damage. Keep doing this till the parasite reappears. Then once again stagger him with whatever method you choose and lay more damage into the parasite. If you see him beat his chest like that, he is about to do a shoulder charge attack. You can dodge it by moving to the side as quickly as possible. Once this cutscene triggers, you will be near the end of the fight, and get yet another opportunity to damage the parasite. Also from here on out, the parasite will remain exposed, so I would recommend using flash grenades to both damage and stagger him as many times as needed.
Good boy.
With this fight concluded, you survived your first encounter with the El Gigante. In Chapter 6, you will certainly have your hands full. The first fight you'll have to deal with is with the Chainsaw Sisters, aka the Bella Sisters. For these ladies, there are two popular methods for taking them out. The first will kill them as soon as the fight starts, but it requires the bolt thrower with explosive mines. Now, on professional difficulty, you're going to have the bolt thrower's power tuned to at least level 3 and the ammo capacity at least a level 4. On the lower difficulties, you can get this done with less ammo and less power. Once you're in the room, set up your mines just like this on the light bulb. You're going to need at least 7 mines for this method. After you've done that, simply turn around and trigger the cutscene and enjoy the show.
Didn't realize it was yours. I am flattered. But I'm a one-lady type of guy.
Now, the second method is the more ordinary ways of doing things and will take a little bit longer. First off, start with having Ashley hide in one of the 2 lockers. Generally, the upstairs one is the better option. Next, feel free to grab the green herb from upstairs and the first aid spray from the table downstairs, then trigger the cutscene. You could open with a grenade, but the flash grenade is a wiser choice, since you can get in some big knife damage on both of them while they are blinded. I also wouldn't recommend fighting them the entire time in this room since it can get crowded and chaotic pretty quickly. Instead, you are best off getting out of the room after knifing them. From here, you want to gather and bottleneck the sisters and villagers as much as possible. Make sure to keep moving back while shooting at them so that you can kite them to the front gate. If you can, try to shoot the lantern so that it will fall on them for some fire damage. If they are still alive and chasing, then fall completely back to the front gate. When you reach there, they will not chase you past it. so you can use this spot to damage them and run away until they die.
You're serious. Sorry, you're not my type.
Lastly, it is worth noting that the sister that spawns in on the right always has the crank, so if you're feeling confident, then some well-placed headshots with a sniper rifle can quickly take her out, or numerous melee attacks via the flash grenades.
That was not easy.
For the second and final fight of Chapter 6, you will have to battle against Father Mendez. Similar to the Chainsaw Sisters, there are again two main methods to do this fight. The first also involves using the bolt thrower's mines to end this fight very quickly. Using the mine setup can be an instant kill on any difficulty aside from professional. However, on professional difficulty, even with a fully tuned bolt thrower, you will still need a few shots from a sniper rifle or a magnum to finish off Mendez. When setting up the mines, you will need to place them in these two spots. How many you will require will of course depend on the difficulty you're playing on and of course how tuned the weapon is.
You want to get ugly? Let's get ugly.
Now, for the other method, aka the regular way, you'll want to use the riot gun shotgun and the sniper rifle during the first phase. As soon as the fight starts, immediately make your way to the ladder and get up to the upper floor. From here, you simply want to use your riot gun to hit the eye on his back to stagger him. The main attacks you'll have to worry about is his horizontal swing that you will get an evade prompt for, and an overhead attack that can be parried or dodged. He will also do two other attacks from time to time. One involves trying to pin you in a spot so that he can grab you, and the other is a full-out spin attack that can cover almost the entire upper floor. To stop both of these attacks, you can either shoot him enough to cancel it, or before it starts, jump down to the lower level temporarily to dodge it. Once he's staggered, use your sniper rifle to bring down his health. There is also the option of using your knife, but it'll be a slower process. If he gets back up, repeat the process using the shotgun on his back and the sniper rifle on him when he's staggered, until you move on to the next phase. In the second phase of the fight, he will start by throwing flaming debris at you. If you see him doing this animation, then you can dodge it by moving either to the left or the right. While this is going on, fire some shots at his head with your pistol or sniper rifle, and be ready to shoot the red barrels as soon as he brings them out. This phase of the fight can either be done on the lower or higher level, but I find the lower level usually works better. Throughout this fight, your general game plan is to dodge his attacks and use a pistol or rifle when he's at range and a shotgun when he's close up, till he dies. Whenever you see him cross his arms like this, he's about to do a very quick lunge attack. You can generally avoid this by either moving to the side as soon as possible, or by damaging him to stop him in his tracks. If you see him in a charging animation like this, then you have to shoot him to cancel out the attack before it starts.
Running out of options, huh?
He will also throw debris at you like this. To dodge it, just try to stand still while being in line with him. You could also crouch to be a bit safer. And this concludes all of the bosses you will have to deal with in the village section of the game. Next up is the first boss you will have to kill for the castle section in Chapter 7, the Garrador. Just like with the Gigante, you want to expose the parasite and hit it with big damage quickly to end this fight. So yet again, the sniper rifle and flash grenades can be your best allies in this fight due to their very high damage output versus the parasite. A good strategy is to run over to the main room with the chains and stop on the right side and let the Garrador run by you. From here, you have a perfect opportunity to expose the parasite with your pistol, shotgun, knife, or rifle. After that, you would then throw your flash grenade for big damage. After this, you can then back up and switch to your rifle and expose the parasite once again. After that, throw another flash grenade. You would rinse and repeat this strategy until he dies. If you don't have flash grenades, then this same strategy will still work, but of course will take longer depending on your ammo and weapon upgrades. You can also stealth knife the Garrador to death. Just be sure to watch out for the chains in the room by walking slowly and or crouching. Also be patient since he will at times swing his claws directly behind him. There is also the option of perfect parrying his attacks, which will cause him to turn his back to you, allowing you easy chances to damage the parasite. So it's not a bad idea to do this as long as you know which attacks can be parried and which have to be evaded. For the armored El Gigante in Chapter 8, you have a few options in how you can deal with him. The first and easiest is shooting him with the RPG for the instant kill, just like any of the other bosses in the game. The second one would be by using the cannon to take him down. The third actually involves avoid killing him altogether and just using the cannon to destroy the door. The main reason for the third method is simply for the memes. Going back to the second method, you first need to hop down from here and start making your way to the cannon. Use the advantage of a third-person view to see exactly what he's doing to keep yourself safe and to time your runs. When you arrive to this area, use your shotgun to get this guy out of your way, as well as the Zealot with the shield. From this spot, you will be safe behind the barrier from the El Gigante, so you can use your sniper rifle to take out the Zealots with the crossbows and make your path a bit safer. Once they are dead, you can hop down to this next area and take out the Zealots that are waiting for you. Just make sure you stand behind a wall to remain safe from the El Gigante's throws. Next, flip the switch for the doors and head down one more level to kill a Zealot that was waiting for you. Then make your way up the ladder to the cannon room whenever it's safe to do so. In the cannon room, you just have to hit 2 switches to raise the cannon and only have to worry about 1 Zealot as soon as you come up the ladder. Finally, after making your way to the top, wait for a clear chance to aim the cannon at the El Gigante, then destroy both him and then the door right after. The next boss to deal with are the double Garradors in Chapter 10. This room and fight can be a huge pain, especially on professional difficulty. However, there are certain things you can do to turn this room into a breeze. First and foremost, the fully upgraded exclusive M1903 sniper rifle is incredibly powerful in this fight, so if you have it available to you, I'd highly recommend it. Also, heavy grenades and flash grenades are very useful for this fight. In this room, there will be 7 enemies total when you first start it. 5 Zealots with 3 in the middle, 2 on the sides, and also 2 Garradors chained up in the back. Your game plan should be once the Garradors are free from their chains, lure them both over to the bell by shooting it, then use a heavy grenade to weaken them. Then you would finish them off with a sniper shot to each parasite. Alternatively, you could straight up kill them with just heavy grenades, but if you're playing on professional, you will need to at least throw 4 of them for a definite kill. Another strategy is by playing cat and mouse around this table. Usually this is best used when you don't have much of anything in terms of equipment and ammo, but it definitely takes patience and there's a lot of ways that this can go wrong. While doing this, you should also try to manipulate the Garradors into killing the Zealots and each other. Finally, it is also possible to stealth this entire room by using the bolt thrower against all the Zealots and the mines against the Garradors. After dealing with the double Garradors, your problems aren't quite over yet since you'll have to also deal with Verdugo in Chapter 10. This guy has the most health of any of the enemies in the game, so you'll need to burn a lot of ammo in order to kill him, unless you decide to spend money and use an RPG. Because of this, you generally have to decide between burning resources to kill him or stalling time till the elevator arrives. If playing on professional difficulty, you should absolutely use all 4 liquid nitrogen stations, since Verdugo will receive more damage while he is frozen. You should also use your most high damaging weapons against him as much as possible, and even mix in some heavy grenades.
What's your move?
As for his attacks, when he is using his tail from the vents, he will use it 2 or 3 times before re-emerging. Once he is out, he will do a variety of different attacks based on your distance from him, but most of these can be parried. If he does an attack where he flips off the ceiling, this will give you an evade prompt. The other jumping attack he does can be dodged simply by crouching.
I think you need to chill out. There you go. How's that? It's different, huh? We're playing hide and seek, is that it?
Now, if you decide you want to save your ammo and use a stalling strategy till the elevator arrives, then you're best off using this room and doing circles around here while keeping a moderate distance from Verdugo. Not too close and not too far. The key to avoid getting hit is by watching his animations for when he will throw in an attack at you or run towards you. Once the elevator arrives, wait for an opening and then make your way there to end the fight. After dealing with the El Gigante in both Chapter 4 and 8, you will now have to fight 2 of them in a tag team match with Luis. To make this fight easier, you should deal with the regular El Gigante first before dealing with the armored one, especially since a normal one can be blinded by flash grenades, whereas the armored one cannot. The 2 ways to kill these guys is either by bringing them down by exposing the parasite and then damaging it enough to kill them, or by dropping them into the lava pit. The only drawback to using the lava pit method is you won't be able to loot them afterwards, but it's generally best to do it this way since it will save time, health, and ammo. So, as soon as the fight starts, draw the attention of the regular El Gigante to lure him onto the door of the pit. Once he's there, throw a flash grenade to blind him and then flip the switch. As long as he has even a single toe near the hole, he will be dropped in. Just make sure you blind him when you're close to the switch, since he won't stay blinded for too long. If you don't have flash grenades, then you can just stagger him by shooting the parasite once it's exposed, and then flip the switch as long as he's staggered onto the pit door. Now, for the armored El Gigante, you're going to need to stall time till Luis can plant the dynamite on his back. The best way to stall time is by staying underneath and slightly behind him, since in this position he will keep doing his stomp attack and be unable to hit you. Another strategy to avoid taking damage while waiting for Luis is by keeping the switch between you and him, since he has to walk around it and will whiff attacks as long as you're not too close. Also, opening the door while he's chasing you can buy some time, since he will quickly backstep away from the middle whenever it's open.
Where do you think you're going?
Once Luis reappears, just run over to him so the El Gigante will follow and trigger the cutscene of Luis planting the dynamite on his back. Right after that, just shoot the dynamite and flip the switch. Unless you want to loot him, then you need to keep damaging the parasite till it dies, since it will remain exposed for the rest of the fight.
Beautiful! Just as planned. All right, let's finish this guy off.
Here it goes.
Perfect timing.
In the first Krauser fight in Chapter 11, you can only use knives, so the only thing you should equip is your combat knife or whichever knife is tuned up the most. If you don't have any of your knives in your inventory or it's broken, then you can pick up a boot knife as soon as the fight starts from the structure on Leon's right side. Also, if you are a moderate distance away from Krauser, he will throw a knife at you. If you manage to parry it, you can actually pick it up and use it against him. Your game plan in this fight is to play patient and smart and take full advantage of your openings. What will primarily give you these openings is by evading and parrying his attacks. And while perfect parries are the way to go, luckily even in professional difficulty, it's not mandatory for you to perfect parry his attacks in order to get openings. Krauser in general will throw a mix of different attacks at you when you're near him. This can range from a quick knife or melee strikes, double knife swings, and continuous knife swings followed by a melee attack, usually ranging from 4 to 5 hits. If he jumps over your head, you can either quickly run out of his range or do a quick turn and be ready for his incoming attack. Another thing to watch out for is Krauser's takedown grab. To stop this attack, you either need to move out of his range very quickly or damage him enough before he can actually grab you. If you get into this quick time event by not stopping it with a perfect parry, then the only way to not sustain any damage from it is by being at max health and very quickly mashing to break out before any damage can start to apply. Also, try to stay away from edges so that you can avoid this scenario entirely. Overall, a strong defense is a strong offense in this fight. In the final fight of the castle section, you'll have to deal with Salazar. This fight can either be extremely easy and fast, or a slow burn depending on which strategy is used. So the easy way to do this, aside from the RPG instant kill, is by throwing golden eggs at him. One egg will reduce his health by 75%, so if you throw 2, the fight will be over in seconds. The first egg is found by using the boat in Chapter 4 and navigating to this chicken hideaway. For the second, you can get it in the throne room in Chapter 12 by using the cubic device here. If you don't want to use golden eggs, then a combination of explosive mines and a tuned magnum can also destroy Salazar very quickly. Now, the other way is by doing this fight normally, but that can be a bit of a grind. At the very start of the fight is your time to tack on as much damage as possible with any of the strategies that you decided to use. From here, make your way to the top to fight Salazar during his first phase. Be sure to listen to the sounds he makes before each attack, since this will give you a clear indication of which attack he's about to use. He will also be laying traps around the room, so make sure to disarm them with a single shot or avoid them entirely. Now, if you see him trying to get close to you, he will do his bite attack, so you can bait this and punish him as soon as he whiffs. If he does his acid spray, you can easily dodge this by moving to the side or by hiding behind a pillar. Generally, this is an attack you want him to use the most, since it's very easy to apply damage afterwards. If he does an attack where he's charging up before launching his acid in multiple directions, you can damage him to cancel the attack or completely get out of the way to evade it. Whenever you do stun him and he falls down, you are best using your most powerful weapons and focusing on shooting the eye on his head while he is stunned. The knife attack is better used as a finisher or if you have no powerful weapons. Once he goes into the second phase of this fight, he will move quicker and mix up his attacks by adding new ones, doing double attacks, and attacking from different angles. Because of this, you should now play around this pillar and roof and mostly use the fact that you're in third person view and able to damage him while staying safe from his attacks. In the end, getting through this fight is simply about keeping your eye on Salazar and also where you're moving to at the same time to avoid traps. For this final Krauser fight in Chapter 14, you will need to defeat him 3 times in this entire sequence of events. In the first encounter, a sniper rifle and a magnum can make things go incredibly fast. As soon as the fight starts, you need to start shooting him in the head with your sniper rifle. If he hops down, you can then switch over to your magnum or shotgun if needed. How he will fight in this encounter is extremely similar to the first fight you did in Chapter 11. The main difference is you can now use your guns against him, and he will occasionally hop up to the ledge to start using a submachine gun against you. As soon as the first mini fight is over, you need to start making your way through Krauser's obstacle course. In this first area, navigate under this trip mine or disarm it by shooting it, then make your way down to the lower level. From here, you can run into this room with a box and stand behind it to avoid Krauser's attack. You can also damage him to interrupt his grab attempt, or quickly shoot the mine and run past him to the left to avoid it.
Sloppy!
Next, shoot this bear trap and hide behind the wall to avoid his crossbow shot.
Ready to die, rookie.
As for the mine, you just need to angle yourself to take it out. Moving on, you will have 2 sentry guns and a bear trap to deal with, followed by 2 laser trip mines. Now there are a few different ways you can move past here, but an easy path is by taking this sentry out, then moving forward to disarm one of the mines. Then move back and go towards the right side to disarm the bear trap and the other sentry gun in order to advance forward.
I'm no stranger to covert tactics, remember?
In this tunnel, you'll have yet another bear trap and sentry gun to disarm, and at the exit, you need to stand back from the door and wait for Krauser to shoot his explosive arrow before moving through.
Have a good hunt. Still alive, huh? You got lucky.
For this area, hug the left side of the stairs to avoid his arrows. From this spot, you have to dodge his arrows by hiding behind cover and advancing forward in between his shots.
I'd be dead if I kept listening to people like you.
Won't last long moving like that. The Reaper comes.
You can also snipe him from back here to stop Krauser from shooting arrows, which will make moving through here far less stressful. Once you get to the door near the mine, don't rush forward too fast, since he will drop off some grenades. After all that, you get to do another fight with Krauser. As soon as the fight starts, you can make him fall from a ledge with a flash grenade or by shooting him with a powerful weapon, preferably a sniper rifle. Once he is down to your level, he will again fight very similar to the previous encounter, except he will throw more flash grenades to blind you so that he can attack you from your back. Another thing to note is you need to watch out for the mines. but you can use them against Krauser by rolling into them when you have invincibility or by shooting them at the right time. When you've dealt enough damage, Krauser will transform and you'll need to go through 2 more obstacles before fighting him for the final time.
I told you. Again and again. You're too soft to do what's necessary. That's the difference between you and me, rookie. Time to finish your training. Witness the power!
You've lost it completely, Krauser.
For this attack, you either have to parry it or evade it by running along the right side of the wall very quickly.
Oh, I'd ask for a refund.
You're gonna regret that smart mouth of yours.
After that, you just need to evade his drop-down attack, and then it's on to the final fight.
I can't wait to see you ride!
Oh, shit.
Training's not done. Last lesson starts right now.
Nah. Time for the
Now, if you're ever going to use your RPG versus Krauser, this is a time to do it. If not, your main 2 ways of doing this fight is by fighting him straight up with powerful weapons and your knife while making sure your parry and evade timings are on point, or by cheesing him by going up and down the ladder and playing the distance game.
I'm not surprised you made it this far. Not bad, but I didn't expect anything less. After all, I know.
Whenever he has his guard up, you can shoot at his legs until he gets staggered, then aim for his head.
Shame you can't see the truth. How long do you plan to fight in that primitive body of yours?
Until the mission's finished. You'd have said the same once.
You need to stop living in the past.
The Krauser I knew is dead and gone.
Dead? No. I've been reborn. To something greater than he ever was.
Throwing heavy grenades at him is also a good idea whenever he's a good distance away from you, or right after you dodge his massive ground slam attack.
My defense is unbreakable. You're still too slow. Give up. My strength is without equal. Come on! Here's what real power feels like! Strength is everything. The weak can protect nothing.
As a last note, you can get hit while doing the ladder strategy if you mess up the spacing and timing, but generally this is a nice and simple method to do this fight, especially when playing on professional difficulty.
Now I do!
The final boss fight against Sadler is a fight that can become chaotic in a hurry. As expected, the RPG is the best thing to use for this fight, so if you haven't used it yet, now's the time. Or if you haven't bought it yet, it certainly wouldn't be a bad idea to sell as many things as possible so you can buy it. If the RPG route isn't an option, then the next best one is using your most powerful weapons, especially whichever Magnum you have. Now, if you have decent enough accuracy, you can actually bully Sadler and make this fight move very quickly by straight up playing in his face. However, if you don't feel comfortable doing that strategy and prefer playing at a safer distance, then you can play more slower and tactical by maximizing the red barrels against him while continuously moving. At the very beginning, you can stun him with the red barrel, then focus fire on the eyes located on his limbs. Whenever you destroy an eye, it stuns him for a second or two, and it will give you opportunity to damage the next one. Your overall goal is to keep destroying his eyes until you stagger him. Once he's staggered, focus all of your fire onto his head with your best gun. You can also knife him when he's like this, but it's best used as a last hit before he recovers if anything. As he chases you, he will do a large leap into the air to get near to you. This can be a good opportunity to damage him, or you could just play farther back on a slightly different elevation so that he's forced to readjust. Once you damage Sadler enough, he will start destroying parts of the area to make it easy for him to trap you, as well as he will slowly start calling Novistadors for backup. So it is best to plan your route or backtrack as soon as he leaps into the air so you can regain any of the space you lost from the chase. When you've damaged Sadler enough, he will jump into the middle and start summoning a swarm of Novistadors. At this point, you could snipe one of his eyes to apply some damage, but it's far more wise to take out as many of the Novistadors as fast as possible so you don't have to worry about them going forward. From here, just keep doing the same strategy you've been doing by damaging his eyes while he's recovering from his leaps or attacks. You can use a long ladder to avoid a lot of his attacks and to plan out your next move. As for the bridge, you can activate it, but it's better used as an emergency option if you really need to get out of that area, but you can still be hit while you're crossing it. You will know when he's getting close to death when he hops back up to the top one more time and shoots 3 vertical sprays in a row. Finally, after you've killed his first form, you'll now have to deal with his final form, but thankfully this fight is very easy. All you have to do is stall time or damage him enough until Ada throws you the rocket launcher to finish him off. The 2 attacks he will use with his tentacles is a vertical swing and a horizontal one. To dodge the vertical one, you just need to move to the opposite side. For the horizontal one, you need to hit the evade prompt since the attack will cover the whole area. You will be able to tell which attack he will use based on if the tentacle starts curving or not before the attack. He also will always alternate which side he will attack from. And with Sadler done, that wraps up all of the bosses I wanted to cover for the RE4 remake. I do hope this guide was useful, and if you feel I missed anything important or know of some other strategies, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.